Y'all hear that? That wind right there is barely blowing. It's been getting after it. A minute ago, them suckers were slamming. These ones over here were creaking. We've had a windstorm come through, but we also had a snowstorm this morning here in Oklahoma. Yes, we will rebuild. I think we'll make it out alive. We lost our -1/2 inch. It's already melted off because the sun came out, because that's how Oklahoma works. But I swear there's the tiniest amount of snow this morning on the ground. It happened. Dang, how'd that get so dirty? That don't even make sense. The wind though, that crap is getting after it now. The wind probably blew the snow right out of Oklahoma. So, welcome back to the second channel. And this week, I've kind of set myself up for content-wise what is an easy week. It's also what I would call a depressing week for me because I do like working. I very much so enjoy working, being out here in the shop working. So it's not my favorite when I have to take weeks off. We did it around Christmas time. There's a total of almost 2 weeks I had to miss, and now basically our first week into January I'm having to miss. I had to get those testosterone pellets put in my butt. I've told y'all that. That's a procedure where they go and they actually slice it, and kind of in the shape of like loading a 6-shooter. They shove the testosterone pellets in there, and it depends on where your testosterone's at and your weight and height and all that kind of crap factors into how many you need. Well, I'm lucky enough to need 10, and I've seen these things. They almost look like horse feed, and they just one after another. They just shove them down into the meat of your butt. Ah! Ow! And I've got a little tiny butt, so it ain't a lot to work with. And yeah, by the time they get done, it's sore. And of course, that is an incision on your butt, so you got the possibility of it getting infected, so you got to take care of it. And besides that, being there, you're not supposed to do a lot of bending, picking up heavy stuff, getting up and down. Basically everything we do when we're really in here on a project, you're not supposed to do. In fact, last year, I had a day of work planned out. The first time I went and ever got these, I went in there flying blind. I went in there at 9 o'clock expecting to be back in the shop working by 10. And she was like, yeah, you can't do this. And I'm like, so you're saying I can't work today? She's like, you don't need to be working for at least 4 or 5 days. That thing needs to heal up where you don't start shooting out pellets. So yeah, the first one was a learning experience. This go around, I was smart enough to get myself set up enough to be able to take an easy week, and I found out this week ain't gonna be that easy. And all this ties into what we're gonna talk about today, which is YouTube as a business, and some of the equipment I use, just some of my thoughts on some of my journey, because it still seems like at least once a week we get a message or comment across the board. Speaking of comments, we're going to talk about how many comments I got in the last year and why I can't reply to every comment. For those people who comment and go, I comment all the time and you don't reply, fame's got to your head. I get that one a lot too. We're going to discuss why things like that are not possible unless I want to be the worst dad in the world, or husband, worst husband. I could be that. But we're going to talk about some numbers on that, some of the equipment I use. I don't know what I do it different. I don't know. We're just going to talk about YouTube as a business. And I'm telling you that because I had to plan to get this done, because one thing I believe in is consistency. And just like anything in life, consistency is key. You have two people who are both just kind of natural at kicking a football well, and one of them decides he's going to kick a ball 50 times a day to practice, and the other one just does it the little bit he's forced to in practice or whatever, you know. We probably know which one's going to end up being the better kicker. The one who puts in the reputation, not reputation. Don't put your reputation on the line. The one who puts in the repetition and is getting off more kicks. I'm terrible at sports, so I should not talk about that, because I don't even know if that's true. It just kind of sounded smart, or it sounded like it made sense anyhow. But obviously, y'all get what I'm saying. Now, the algorithm has changed over the years. I would say around COVID time to 2021, it was easier to get picked up in the algorithm. And I've watched some videos on this. It's been said by the guy who is in charge of the algorithm of YouTube or whatever. And in the past couple of years, stuff has just changed. And that's why it makes it harder to get picked up in the algorithm. So I do believe. I'm no expert. These are just my experiences and the little bit that I've seen. But more or less now they're going for the quality of your videos. How do you judge quality? Well, I can tell you how they judge it. They judge it a lot off your retention time. So before, I think they kind of looked at views. Views was a big thing. Oh, that video's getting a lot of views. They push it. Well, you know, then you got stuff like clickbait and stuff like that people would use to get big views and get picked up like that. YouTube factors in now a lot of your retention time. Yeah, people are clicking, but if instantly they can tell it's a clickbait video and they click off there and you have no retention time, it's down the drain. Well, guess what? YouTube ain't gonna push that. They know you're clickbaiting. Woo! That wind's getting buck nasty right now. It's just now starting to get cold here in Oklahoma. This next week, we're gonna have a day or two that goes down in the single digits, I do believe, or maybe that was this week it's supposed to do that. And then right around the corner is gonna be tornado season. So all that is to say, if you're gonna go the clickbait route, that don't work as good as it used to. For some people, maybe they can still pull it off, but retention time is a big thing they look at now. And I can't tell you a whole lot of how to get picked up in the algorithm because I ain't done it in a long time. We've had the Model A video it was the best video of 2023. That one's just under 900K, but I personally have still never had a video that's gone to 1 million views the whole time I've been on here. Mortsky's had, I don't know, probably like 9 or so go to over 1 million views. And you know, he's just a grumpy old man talking into him. And I'm just like, you know, so I may not be the best one to give advice here. If you want solid YouTube advice, we may need to ask him because his videos have done better than mine. I tell you all that information actually because I'm super proud of him and I'm glad, well, me and him, we've talked about it and he's like, I'm a consistent second base hit, you know, like it don't matter if I'm doing a video about pellets in my butt, cutting down a tree, or cutting down a short wide bed, huh? So he's like, you know, you're gonna get in this range every time, which is awesome because I can do stuff like my shop build and everything where there are certain things he's nervous to do, or not nervous to do, he just, you know, he ain't done that before and he knows he needs to stick to his kind of content that he does. And for like me, I'm like, okay, well, you know, if I need to do that month and a half of shop building or whatever we did, thankfully you guys watched and still supported throughout that. And I'm not really a gambler, so I actually really like where I'm at, that I just know that we're doing, that we can have some consistency in our lives. As far as my life and what I'm providing for my family, I like the consistency. I tell y'all that because a lot of people will be like, you know, you've noticed I've been doing some 2-hour videos. Not all of them. The last couple recent as we've gone out of town, I ain't been able to have as much time to get stuff done. But the longer videos, and usually the most verbal people in the comment section, if they have something bad to say, there's such a small percentage of the actual people who like care, or I guess would matter. Not to say so, that don't mean if someone disagrees with me, they don't matter, but I'm saying collectively as the audience and the people who interact with me, they are about 1% or less. And I know this video is gonna be all over the place. I did no planning for it other than thinking we'd talk about YouTube stuff. So you may learn something throughout this and I may go down a couple different rabbit holes and vary off different trails, and eventually we'll conclude somewhere. Maybe there's gonna be a useful piece of information in here at some point. Back to the 2-hour videos though, guys. There's a lot of people, I say a lot of people, again, 1% or less. You see where it's 1% on the YouTube side of things, meaning I can go look at my content and it'll give me a percentage of how many people like the video. So I'm basing the 1% there. Meaning, I actually looked yesterday And in the last I think I went 2 years, I've only had 5 videos with a like average below 99%. And it wasn't even crazy low. There was like 5 of them. I think the lowest I think I did have one go to like a 97.9, but the other 4 were all like 98.6. And most of the other 3 of them were like 98.7 to 9, just barely down in the 98, blah, blah, blah. That's the people who are gonna say thumbs up or thumbs down, and it puts those versus each other, which a lot of them, I noticed here recently we got an average of say like, I don't know, maybe 14,000. So that's a lot of people. But there's a lot of people obviously who watch who aren't interactive, but yet they come back time and time again. So we know for the most part, they're enjoying what they're seeing, right? In fact, going off of that, we get, I don't know, around 100,000 views in the first 24 hours on our videos. And then in a week period, we usually do another 100,000 views. So 100,000 of y'all, thankfully, every Monday are usually coming back within a 24-hour period, which is awesome. I cannot thank you guys enough. I'll never forget, 1, hitting my first 100,000 views, and it meant the world to me. But 2, I'm pretty sure I was working on Puddin Pop's Toyota Dually, that video a year or 2 ago, when it was the first time I'd ever hit 100K within 24 hours. I remember putting that in a video. And now it's kind of become the standard where we're gonna hit that, which is awesome. Back to the 99% that I told you I'm gonna go different places with this because I can't stay focused. The 2-hour-long videos, the numbers just say people like it the same. And my numbers personally, I keep anywhere from, I don't know, basically you could average it out and say a 50% retention time. So this is for the people who think if I'd make X amount of length videos, they would change my YouTube game. Oh, you'd already be at 1 million views if you'd start doing 15-minute videos. I'm in 1 million subscribers, not 1 million views. Guys, me, myself, my experience, me seeing my analytics and what happens, I just don't believe it. What do you think, Bob? Bob don't believe it either. In my time on YouTube, main channel that's more successful than the second channel, but y'all know on the second channel, my video lengths, they really vary. Where on the main channel, I try to be more consistent. No matter what I put out, people watch half of it as an average. When we went to 2-hour-long videos, my retention time is right at an hour. For years, we stayed right at an hour length, and retention time was always 30 minutes. If we would go to an hour 15, retention time would be about 37.5 minutes. Anytime I put out a 30-minute video, retention time's within a couple minutes of 15 minutes. Can anyone guess what a 50-minute video does? If you guessed around 25 minutes, you're a stinking genius. Put out 15 minutes, 7 to 8 minutes, guys. So everyone who thinks like, oh, we would watch all of that, it's not true. People, I think nowadays, are impatient, and it's become a tendency to just click through no matter what the video is, unless you're Mr. Beast. And the whole premise of your video can be to give away $10,000 to $500,000 every 40 seconds of a video. And in that case, you can keep people's attention. But in my case, we can't do that, can we, Bob? Bob said, hell no, we can't. So you gotta do what works for you guys if you're gonna create a channel. I was so hesitant to do the longer videos for so long, and it was received extremely well. Of course, the people who don't like it, they will be the most vocal about it, but the like rate, I don't think a single one of my 2-hour-long videos are below the 99%. They're all up there, 99.5. So, like I said, the ones who don't like it, they're the ones who are always extremely vocal about it. They're the ones who will send you an email to let you know you're doing it wrong and you lost me as a subscriber, and I'm gonna thumbs down every one you do that length because I don't have time to watch it. And when you get a I mean, what's a lot compared to hundreds of thousands, 99% right? But throughout the week, as you see it on Instagram, you get the email, you get this message, you see the comments, it feels like a lot because you may have seen it 10 times and you're like, oh man, am I messing up here? But no, I was not. In fact, I was holding myself back for a long time because numbers are numbers. And if I just told you an hour-long video was doing 30 minutes, now a 2-hour-long video is doing 1 hour, what does that mean? That means I'm getting the same amount of view time on my videos, which equals eyes on ads, and it doubled. So as the video length doubled, retention time doubled, and during the last couple of months, YouTube revenue doubled. It is important that if you're gonna do YouTube as a business, to treat it like a business. Like I said, I was hurting myself there. Now, do I think the channel's gonna explode to 1 million views or 1 million subscribers or like one of them big channels by always putting out 2-hour-long videos? No, I don't. I do agree in a sense. You'd have to find the happy medium of what's short enough to be able to really dumb down your material and compact it enough where it was really packed, action-packed, a lot happening, to be able to keep retention time as high as possible, which for me, like I said, it don't matter what we do, it stays at half anyhow. I'm sure there's some magical number and someone's gonna figure that out, and there's gonna be a couple car channels that get great momentum from that. They're gonna build an audience off of that, and it'll grow fast for them where they build their revenue as they go. That's the fast-paced style they're used to, and whatever. For us, we've been doing it long enough. I don't feel like we're in a rut, but I do think YouTube catches on to stuff with my channel, and it kind of keeps me not in a rut, but just where I'm at, where I'm consistent, which I'm perfectly fine with. I don't care that we're skyrocketing. I just care if we're ever going downhill, which we have not, no matter what, the channel's grown. I wanted to pick up more subscribers last year. I think we ended up picking 44,000 throughout the year as a whole. I would have loved, obviously, to picked up 100,000 last year. But that's the thing, it didn't. Does that mean we're doing bad? No. I mean, there's always things on YouTube that we can do to, I don't know, just like that, doubling length of video, it doubled my revenue. I've been missing out on that for years. I think as trends come and go or whatever, there may be things, but y'all, I hope y'all know with me, and this is interesting, there's a lot of people like I'm having to do junkyard content, but y'all see when I got to go out of town and holidays and crap, you're gonna see more junkyard videos, more will it runs. If I can go to the junkyard in one day and get a video, okay, or I can do a will it run and within a day or two have that done and get a video, that's obviously a lot less work than cutting down a short wide over a period of a week, and that's still equaling one video that's the same length. I mean, that's just hours to work ratio. I've told y'all we don't get paid time off, and that's just part of it, but you gotta treat YouTube like a business. So I know the viewers always tell me take a week off, just don't worry, skip this or skip that. But from the start, I told you consistency, or at the beginning of this, I told you consistency. I don't know exactly how YouTube does it, but there's some big channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers that you can come across, and their last videos for years, they can't get a single video with more than 10,000 views. And that terrifies me, because I know the possibility is there. And that will always keep me hungry to not skip weeks or make that a consistent thing to do. I just feel like if you're treating it as a business, no, it ain't your best content, which I did say they're going quality over quantity, but for me, I know it works, always getting something out. And that ain't to say anyways that people don't love the junkyard videos. People, I don't know guys, you're talking about 200,000 plus people that I try to keep happy on a weekly basis. And if you're a parent, if you've got 2 or 3 kids, multiple kids, you can't keep 3 kids happy. So now try to keep 200,000 plus viewers happy week to week. It's damn near impossible. Someone always has something to say. You're letting someone down in one way, shape, or form. they're gonna leave the channel, this, that, you know, whatever it may be. If you're gonna do the YouTube stuff, you got to learn to let that crap roll off your back.
Are you trying to hurt my feelings? Because if so, you are succeeding. Fortunately, my feelings regenerate at twice the speed of a normal man's.
Now I like to address it on here because people do say things, but when I address it, I hope y'all can tell I don't get on here actually like mad or whatever. That's when I like being sassy, and I just know I can kind of have fun with it, and for me, that's my comedy. I'm one of those people that grew up in a family where everyone had something smart but to say, so I can read a negative comment and I can in my head instantly, you know, usually I could flip every comment around, and if I'm being sassy in myself and, you know, feeling myself talking back to people, I think I can make it funny. But then again, I've had comments where people say they love it when I do that, and then people hate it. You're just feeding the haters, and you're motivating them for more. Well, the haters are always going to be the most vocal no matter what, so I don't think I'm going to gather up another 20,000 of them who have something to say now. But the crap don't really bother me. I just like to have fun with it if possible, but I've backed off because I try to be positive in my videos, and I can see how that can be entertaining negativity, and I don't want to spread negativity in any way, so I've kind of backed off on it, even though I just really enjoy having fun with it, and I will every once in a while. But if you're going to be in front of a camera, guess what? You're going to be critiqued. Anything and everything you do, there's going to be at least one person who knows better than you. There's people in the car world who love to call me a hack because they'll look at the stuff we do for fun entertainment because YouTube's a business, but they won't credit any of the like higher end stuff, like what's underneath my travel all right, like yeah, that dude's just a hack. Well, obviously you don't know me, you know. There's levels of builds, and when YouTube's a business, well, would I love to take this thing down to bare frame and powder coat it and go back with 100% brand new everything? Well, sure, but if you spend more money than you make, your business does not last, if that makes sense. And that's what's hard for a lot of people as they go to do YouTube. Like, you know, y'all's asked several people, they want Slick Fitty to start his own channel. And then same thing in the comment section, anytime he's on the channel, we will have at least a couple people comment and complain again that he's on the channel. Get him out of here, blah, blah, blah. That's my friend. He ain't going nowhere, okay? You're gonna have to deal with it. That's me being sassy and just having fun with it. I don't really care that 0.5% of people may not like when he's in a video, because 99.5% are perfectly okay with it and are more than encouraging down there. You see what I'm saying? I can still have fun with it because I know the real numbers behind it back that he's more than welcome here. Flick does not want a YouTube channel. His main goal as a professional car person, what he wants to be known for, what he's trying to build his reputation towards, is being like a metal finisher. He likes slapping out those dents. There's some people who comment like it's like people said he don't know what he's doing. And if y'all could see these panels on this 32 Ford, the holy grail of hot rods that he's starting with, where there's dents and dings and this and that, and he spends the time and he slaps out all these dents, and he files and he marks it again, and he checks for the low spots and the high spots, and he works it. When he gets done, it's a perfect piece of metal, and people's like, you don't know what he's doing. You've done too much shoddy body work over the years, but if I was a betting man, because I've been in several body shops and not a lot of them metal finish, you know what I mean? And that's what he wants to get to, restoring old hot rods to a higher end. And as far as the YouTube business, it's hard to just do the same exact thing every video and keep people's attention. Sure, we build a lot of patina stuff, but it never fails. Videos that usually do well are ones when we introduce the project for the first time. So if we bring in a new vehicle and we get into the meat and potatoes of it, like dragging this one in to say we're cutting it down to a short bed, and in that one week y'all see me cut the frame down and cut the bed down and get it back together as a roller, and you really got to see this truck look super different, especially since it had that dented up bedside. But guess what? From then on, that kind of was like the peak of this truck. Now we've got to make it an actual running, driving truck, and from there the views fall off because you can't keep people's attention by always working on the same thing. And not everyone as a whole, obviously, but just saying from the business standpoint, you can always notice that it falls off. I also think, talking about like Mortskis having those videos go to 1 million views, well, he also drags in a new project almost weekly, where y'all know I may drag some stuff here just to store in the junkyard. But last year we went through the wagon, which was a deep build. We were in there for 5 months probably total. And then we did do the mini build on the S10. We did the build on this. That was a lot of work, where all this goes back to, I like to focus on the builds. And I'm just so thankful over the years that the junkyard videos and stuff we did do built the channel large enough where now I can really do what I enjoy doing, which is builds, and keep y'all's attention and help. And actually, I'd almost say I see it in the comments more where it's more demanded that I do builds, which is awesome for me because I'm a builder. My name ain't Bob like Bob, but I am a builder. Bob the Builder. T-Tang the Builder. Oklahoma Wildman, here at your service. There's one thing that needs built around here, you better call it damned old Pot County legend, because he's a builder. Yeah, I like building stuff. Or then like Mortski's kind of opposite. He'll tell you, yeah, he likes the idea of starting a build, but then like on this truck, when he got it to that point I just described, he's like, I would have slapped a drive shaft in it, did whatever I had to do to make it run and drive. I would have drove it a couple times and it'd be sitting. Where me, I like to take it through the process till we get it looking like this truck where you're kind of like, man, that's the same truck. And that little finicky crap just takes a lot more time and details, which the details equal a lot of time to finish out. But I can't thank you guys enough for actually watching the builds where I can do that. For starting up with Slick, on the other hand, if he's gonna be, like I showed y'all in 1 second channel video, he was repairing on a rocker. Well, I mean, he had 4 days over there repairing on rockers. Then he had a few days actually getting them installed. And there are people who like that, but for Slick, who's trying to do his thing and then ain't trying to make YouTube his main thing because he understands the amount of work that comes with YouTube from being my friend. And I told y'all that the first time after I asked him why he don't do one. His simple response was, it's too much work. And that don't mean that he ain't a hard worker. It's just doing videos and planning the content and all that, I think takes a lot more behind the scenes than most people realize, especially when you're trying to get the brand built up to a point where it can actually produce revenue that is covering the time that you're invested. AKA, I did YouTube for 3 years, and finally at the end of the 3rd year, I'd made just crossed into $800. 3 years of work, $800. And I remember at that time, I focused and I broke it all down. And over the years, I averaged how much I had in each video, how many videos I posted. And up to that point in my YouTube career, I had worked all them hours for 4 cents an hour. That's just a fact, guys. It's a crazy fact, but it's a fact. And that was my turning point, where I told my wife, a lot of people see my old videos and they think that's the real me. And they see me now and they think I'm acting and, oh, he just this, that, he's not really blah, blah, blah. And that is so far from the truth that ain't even funny. Why I'm able to get in front of the camera now and be this cornball, goofy guy, hillbilly from Pot County is because that's what I am, guys, all right? For the longest time, when you'd see me in the old videos and I'm like, hey guys, today we're gonna put some rockers on this Ford shoebox and God bless it! I should have turned that logo out. They ain't paying me. Hell. Now the compressor's off. We lost the moment. Those old videos were so unnatural for me because I was so worried about looking like an idiot, ironically, in front of the camera, that there's points when I would sometimes spend an hour, no joke, 1 hour rehearsing what I was saying a take that should take, if it was 30 minutes or 30 seconds to a minute. I remember there was one day where I spent over an hour, in between me stumbling, road noise, and whatever in the shop. It took me an hour to say it. And I was just like, I can't do this crap anymore. It ain't me. When we made it to that point where I made $800, I had to claim it on my taxes. By the time you get hit with self-employment fee, blah, blah, blah fee, this and that. My $800 I made dropped my tax return by like $790 or something. And I was like, whoa, that's a good $80. We should do the math now. I probably worked for 0.00009 pennies an hour and all this time. And it was just a turning point for me, guys, where I went in and I talked to my wife. She was very exhausted with my YouTube career up to that point. Completely understandable. I used to call her my biggest hater because she was, and she had every right to be. I had invested almost 3 years of my life, week by week, editing, recording film, all this crap to have made $800 that cost us $790 in taxes in a 3-year period. I do not blame her for not being annoyed with it. She never told me to give up. In fact, she was the one who ended up encouraging me in a short time later to quit my job and truly go for it. But you can see why that would be annoying. And if you're gonna start a YouTube channel and you think you're gonna just come out swinging and be full-timing in a couple months, that ain't the case. For most people, some channels get lucky, but there are millions of channels out there, I'm sure, and obviously not everyone, again, is a million plus or even to the point they can do it full time. It takes grinding, guys. It takes getting comfortable. Almost 3 years worth for me of realizing, and I'm glad I went that way. I mean, I learned how to edit during that period. I built some cool stuff that helped me learn some new skills at that point. But when we made it to the end of that year, I just told my wife, I told her, I said, hey, I can't do this anymore. She's like, you're gonna quit YouTube? And I'm like, no, I didn't say that. Don't get ahead of yourself. I said, I can't do this. What do you mean you can't do this? I said, I'm not this cool truck builder that I'm trying to act like I am. I'm not this cool, I know it all kind of guy. And that's what I was kind of trying to portray, I would think, at that point. I thought that's what needed to be seen on YouTube. And I just told her, I said, look, I said, one, I need to quit building. Every project I get, I want to build it to the max. And that's not super relatable. And even though I was super budgeted, I've always been good with my own personal finances. So back then, guys, I was not making much money at the factory. We got wife and kids. Y'all know where we came from. I still would always budget so I could do a build for myself. But I understand for most people, that's not possible all the time. So I was like, I need to get to some more budget-friendly kind of content, I do think, you know, which I like doing the budget-friendly stuff anyways. But at that point in my life, I was just ready to build everything and build these cool cars. But as I finished up the Travelall, which those series did terrible, at that point I just built the International. Then the next year I did all that sheet metal work on the shoebox, which was a huge learning experience for me. Cut the whole bottom off the car and learn how to get all that stuff put back and everything. So again, a great skill set for me being learned. The money I made off of doing that car, I was able to buy a TIG welder, buy my bead roller. I kind of kept the finances separate there and went, hey, I made this in the shop. I'm gonna reinvest it into the shop. I wasn't relying on my side hustle to pay bills, which is why we never had a brand new car, which is why I didn't go get a new cell phone every time they came out, which is why I told my wife one day, I want to get y'all to a bigger house, but as we slowly do better, we're not going to slowly try to upgrade. We're going to stick it out until we can truly get what we want here. And that's just the financial side of me that I do believe helped, was I was responsible with my own finances there. We did the shoebox, made the money for tools. I was ready to build something for myself. That's why I don't do customer work, guys. You invest all this time and work into a customer car, and then you see them leave with it, and they enjoy it, and they cruise it around, and I'm like, man, I built that. And I would just rather drive it myself. You know what I mean? So by the time the shoebox was gone, I was very much so ready to build something for myself. I'd been just drooling over that Travelall, and we built it. And then as I finished it up, I was like, man, I've built a lot of crap the last 3 years. We need to do a little more funner stuff. The junkyard exploring, let's go rescue some cheap budget mini trucks. And there's another good point if you're gonna start a YouTube channel. Find your, I don't know if it's called a niche or a niche. I'm not fancy enough or smart enough to be able to tell you the difference between the two. I can just tell you that I don't think there's a lot of people consistently doing the old school mini trucks. And I know y'all know I like mini trucks, but I don't like them much newer than like our little S10. I kind of cap out around the 80s. That's not to say I don't like the newer ones, but as we get to newer ones, I get like super specific about the ones that just kind of do it for me. I like the old school stuff. Well, you know what? There wasn't a lot of people doing old school mini trucks on YouTube, was there? So I think, you know, most people would see a little Datsun and go, that's a Datsun. You don't want to mess with that thing. But think about this. A lot of people try to focus on crap like that. Well, that right there is oversaturated, guys. Everyone you know has one. You can't go on YouTube without YouTube recommending one of those videos. And for you guys who love that truck, that's great. You know, I know they are the most popular truck, which should have the most following, but the numbers don't translate to that. Working on something like that just automatically brings more views. I've done the same views, if not more views, with little oddball mini trucks, which most people wouldn't think, but the numbers don't lie on my side. And I think that helped with my channel a lot too. I started dragging in all them old school mini trucks, and when I was first doing that, there's so many comments that said, Uncle Johnny used to have one of them. Oh my, I remember my dad's, you know, we used to ride 12 deep in the back of one of them to church as a kid. And those mini trucks from the 70s to 80s, I think people are seeing them and they ain't seen them on YouTube really. And they're like, man, it just struck some memories with them. So if you're gonna get into YouTube, it's not bad to find your little kind of alley to stay in to get views, where if you try to hop in and compete against the big dogs, and it's in an oversaturated market, if you put a video up against top contender or new guy starting out and it's got the same truck on it and someone only has an hour to spare, they're probably going to the big one, okay? It's just kind of makes sense. Another example on all that is, you know, again, the most vocal people are the people who usually ain't if they're not happy, they're vocal. That's what I should say, because there's a lot of people who support the channel, again, 99%, that are very vocal, but the ones who are unhappy have to be vocal. That's a good way of saying it. So, you know, we do the whole old school mini truck thing, and even like Slick's love. I didn't need that love. That's why I gave that truck to Slick. I've been trying to talk him into finding a Chevy love. I found that one for $500, and I'm like, I'm giving this truck to Slick. And I just told him the other day that if I stick to my plan on this truck, which I ain't revealed yet, I'm like, then we get the green one going at some point. I'm like, I might have to find a C10 for you to cruise or something, so we can have some C10s cruising. We'll have to replace that old Chevy Love. And he's like, hey, that's my girl. She ain't going nowhere. We did the Chevy Love though, and the numbers on it, and the retention time on it, and the revenue from it kicked the crap out of immediately after it. We did that 1958 Chevrolet, and we did the Will It Run and transformation and blah, blah, blah. Basically, same things we did on it, we did that back to back. And we did the Chevrolet, the 58 Apache, in what should have been a more profitable month even on YouTube, because the closer you get to Christmas, the more revenue goes up, because more people pay for ads because of Christmas. Everything's commercialized. Don't forget the reason for the season. It ain't to spend a bunch of money on presents. It ticks me off. We ain't here to talk about that. Don't bring that up and get that started. Anyhow, the Chevy Love kicked the crap out of the 58 Apache. But a lot of people would say, if you'd quit working on these little Japanese mini trucks, your channel would be at 1 million subscribers or whatever. If you'd work on a real truck like the old Apache or something. Well, we do them back to back and compare the numbers, and that that Love cleaned house against the old Apache, which I could see why people think the Apache would be the most popular. But at the end of the day, like I said, oversaturated market versus kind of niche market, that one cleaned house. Have I mentioned YouTube's a business, so you should treat it like a business? So we did our whole thing, and I told my wife anyways at the end of whatever year that was, 2020, I said, give me 1 year. I've got to stick to this YouTube thing. I said, first thing, 3 things I'm doing. 1, I got to start being myself, which it still took me throughout 2020 to get super comfortable to hop on here and just be loud and obnoxious and the gentleman that my poor family has to live with and put up with every day. And yes, I can become much at sometimes, and I know that. But it's me, and it's my personality. And I also like to rhyme. I need to be myself. I need to do something besides detailed builds. Detailed builds are boring. I mean, I know some of y'all enjoy them. Like I said, I'm very grateful of that, but I have to agree. If you give me the choice of watching that video where we got so much work done in one good one versus when we make it to the video that we're blending paint and cutting down trim and they're the same length videos, I want to watch the first one. It's just more entertaining. You see more get done. You feel like you're spending your time in a better, I don't know, situation. I don't know how you describe that, but I can see why those do better. And I can also see why rescuing stuff out of junkyards and having multiple new vehicles on the channel can bring in new viewers. Like, again, Mortsky's videos, him bringing in a Will It Run every other week or every week or so, you know, he's more than likely gonna find an area where there's a new group of people. Mopar people are hardcore. They pretty much like Mopar things. So if all you ever do on your channel is Chevrolet or Japanese mini trucks, the chances of bringing in some Mopar eyes are probably pretty slim. And all that can kind of go back to when I said, he says I get like a second base hit every time or a third base hit. And then he's like, sometimes I just strike out, and he's like, but I'm out here just freaking swinging for the fences. And sometimes he hits it big. And there's different ways you can do a channel. I just knew it was time at that point going into 2021 that I had to change it up some. I had to be myself. I wanted to change up the content some, do more budget friendly, more relatable. And then 3, it was time to be consistent, by golly. I told my wife I was gonna put out a video every Monday. No ifs, ands, or but, come hell or high water, I was gonna make it happen, Captain. So I wanted to be consistent on my schedule, and those things did work for me. It did take me throughout the year to get comfortable with it or whatever. But throughout that year, that was the exact same year that we did get some momentum. I believe 100% God was ready for me. I was at a point where I was trusting in God and God was in my life, and it was time to go. And that's because for me, I just realized part of my mission in life as I got more comfortable was I started getting these messages on YouTube about how my videos help someone laugh or smile. Guys, over the years, I've got messages, can't talk about it. Y'all see me cry over the years. Ain't no one surprised by that anymore. I've got messages about how my videos have kept people from doing heartbreaking things to themselves. I'm just gonna say it like that. And I don't take that lightly because, man, I had a very deep conversation with one of the gentlemen, and he had a lot to leave behind, including wife and kids. He's an Army vet. He's not the only one over the years. And G.I. Joe, if you still watch today and happen to see this, man, your conversation was a very big turning point for me. It was literally an answered prayer that day when I was struggling recording a video and I was battling myself mentally on what I was doing and if I'm doing it right. And it was even to the point where I know sometimes I'm bad with my cussing, guys, but I'd had a conversation. I'll be 100% transparent with you. I had a conversation with God about, Lord, I feel like I'm doing this to spread joy in this world, and if it's part of my mission with you, am I doing the right thing? Because I've been around cussing my whole life, and I'm good about keeping the F-bombs out and stuff, but sometimes when you stub your toe or you smash a finger, you just gotta say shit. And the reason I say shit is because that's what's going through my brain, and I also know when you say it like that, it's funny. And that's what I want to do, is make people laugh. I want to take a bad situation. My finger is bleeding. I just smacked it with a 7-pound sledgehammer. If I can say one word that makes viewer laugh and have a good time out of my pain, then that's what I want to do. And like I said, it's just natural. It's what's ready to come out of my mouth. And I was just like, man, I don't know if that's the right thing. And I recorded the Chevy Love video, rescuing one out the salvage yard. And I was just struggling that day, and I would say some things, and I'm like, I would do retakes because I'm like, oh, I'm cussing too much. And then that didn't feel authentic because I was faking what I'd just done or whatever, which I don't like doing that. I don't like to stage anything. I just want to show what's going on. And that day I got that phone call, and some of y'all, you know, I'm not here to just have a full conversation about God and what's right, what's wrong, but I took that conversation that day as, hey, Puddin, if you can say shit and make someone laugh, and it makes this person laugh who ain't laughed in over 6 months and is ready to do the unthinkable, laugh, and that one laugh makes that gentleman laugh, and he goes, I didn't even want to laugh, but I couldn't help but laugh. I had to laugh. And it made me watch your other videos, and they got me laughing, and now we're getting help, and now, uno momento, please. All right, I can do this. I got it. And we're doing better, and we've got help, and I've got that relationship back with my wife and my kids. I don't even remember how we got here, guys, but I just realized that there's a bigger purpose with what I'm doing, and we still get it today in emails, in messages, in comments, and I try to reply to all those that I can. And I guess we can take this to piggyback into, I told y'all we're gonna talk about comments soon, because some people think I've let fame get to my head because I can't reply to them all. But most people who think that aren't putting themselves in my sketchers and thinking about how there's only so many hours in a day. And I did what I did because of 3 reasons. One, I knew I could ultimately get this to provide for my family better than I was when I was at the factory. I knew that was a possibility. I never thought we'd be able to grow to what we've grown in the time we have. And God willing, and the support of you guys, I cannot thank y'all enough for making that possible. Growing, the mission of spreading joy and happiness and just trying to make someone laugh. And then that's 2 again. That's 4. And then just being able to do what I love to do, which is try to make people laugh, but also work on stuff that I like to work on. Like I said, I really enjoy working for myself. It's very hard for me to work on customer stuff. At a normal job, it's very hard for me to go somewhere where I just want to do my job, but you got to spend half the day playing politics or kissing butt or whatever it does to get ahead, and I just hate that. Half the blue-collar people working just said amen, I guarantee it. And speaking of doing that, when I was at the factory, people would say, you know, like, oh, you used to reply to every single comment. Well, I know I did, guys. I worked 12-hour shifts on this rotating schedule where I worked 5 days one week, 2 days the next week, working 7 out of 14 days, but every work shift was at least 12 hours, and that was my old schedule. So the other 7 days in that 2-week period at work, if we weren't working on a machine, I would spend every little bit I could on my phone when I wasn't getting caught or whatever, replying to every single comment. And I'm just being honest. When you're treating YouTube like a business, and you can be at your full-time job getting paid $26 an hour to reply to YouTube comments that you do on the side, that's a pretty good deal. I do also realize after posting this, I will never be hired anywhere else again, so hopefully YouTube never goes away. And still, after I went full-time, I used to reply to every single comment, and I could keep up with it till about 100,000 subscribers. And I think I've heard this from other YouTubers, a couple different ones, that yeah, you can stay on top of that until you hit around 100K. And after that, it's not that you couldn't, but it's the amount of time that's required, guys. So I'm just gonna break down some quick stuff for you. Even then, when I was staying on top of it, what that meant was from when the time the video dropped at 6 o'clock, I was on my phone replying to comments to midnight every single night. As they came in, basically I had to reply. And then when I'd wake up the next morning, Tuesday morning, I'd have to be on there till noon, replying, trying to get caught up. And you never get caught up. You'd still have to stay on it through the end of the week. And then usually by that Monday, if you stayed on top of it and all your spare time, you could have every single one replied to. So, for the people who think I've just let fame gone to my head, I'm not mad about it. I can see how people don't understand. There's that requires time. So we went to Utah that week before Christmas as our little family present. We did a trip instead of gifts. And there's a morning where I was up at like 7 o'clock and we're on this little mountain house thingy. We went up to Utah to try skiing for the first time ever. I am much more brave than I am capable. I wanted to record some of that and I was having some issues with cameras and crap. But anyhow, there's a morning I got up at 7 o'clock and everyone else was asleep. So I went and sat in the hot tub out on the little thingy we were staying at. No one else was out there, so I could just sit there. And I thought about that, and I was like, out of curiosity, I know I don't reply to comments, guys. It takes a crap load of time. And when you're doing everything to provide content, most people would rather have content versus a comment reply. Again, the 99%. But I was just like, you know what? Out of curiosity, what I did was I replied to comments for 30 minutes. And out of those comments I replied to, I was able to get 64 replies in. Now, out of these 64 replies, I tried to pick comments where I could do a simple reply to, whether it be like a little pound it fist emoji, like they were doing almost like, say maybe like a compliment or like, oh, that's a cool car or something. Pound fist. Or a simple reply, appreciate you watching, thanks for the kind words, stuff like that. Then there are some where people would talk more on a subject that was relevant to the video, and I'd reply back to it, a more genuine reply, which is what I want to give. I mean, I'm sure we could set up a robot to reply thank you to every single comment if that's what people wanted, but that's not what they want. Everyone wants a genuine reply, understandable. So I'd reply, yeah, you know, I've tried this or that before, but you know, this or that, or yeah, I used to have one of them too that make great vehicles, or a little bit more of a full sentenced reply. And I could get 64 done in 30 minutes. That's not a lot. That takes a lot of time, guys. And I can't tell you what we average on comments per video, because obviously there's a big difference on your comment amount if you get an extra 50,000 views on one video, you know what I mean? So what I can tell you, what was interesting, was I just did that little study, not even thinking about us coming up to the end of the year. But guess what? We were right at the end of the year. And my YouTube app the other day, as the year closed out, it gave me a recap of my year, and it told me all kinds of numbers, and I wasn't even paying attention to them. That's why I didn't even see how many subscribers we actually picked up. I had to go look at that the other day because I was just curious. Because the one that stood out to me was comments. Because when I seen the total amount of comments, I went, holy crap. And I'm pretty sure my jaw hit our countertop because I was in the kitchen. And I picked it back up. And my instant thought was to switch over to the second channel to let's see how many comments we got there as well. And when I seen that, I thought, holy crap, because I can tell y'all, the main channel was 77,000, go figure, my lucky number with some zeros on the end, and the second channel was 50,000, a grand total of 127,000 comments. And I'm sure someone's gonna check the math on this. I was having a tough time mathing that day, but I'm fairly certain the math breaks down like this, that if I can reply to 64 in 30 minutes, and then you apply it to all that, that equals like 44 and a half days of nonstop, 24-hour around the clock replying to comments. And obviously you can't stay up for 24 hours. Well, you could, but that ain't gonna work for 44 and a half days. So even if you split that in half, that would be then what? 89 days of 12-hour shifts only replying to comments on YouTube to be able to stay on top of them, which is obviously why it's just not even entertainable, okay? And with that amount coming in, even if I get a, say 30 minutes where I want to, well, when you reply to 60 comments and 1,200 comments, again, that's not enough for the people who didn't get theirs replied to. I should be replying to more, but what I'm trying to show y'all here is there's a lot of time it would take to do that. And we didn't even talk about Instagram messages. I get those. You're too big-headed now to check your messages or even reply to us people who support you. We get it in comments. We get emails. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. And guys, that's just YouTube comments. If we could somehow factor up the amount of other messages we get, I'm pretty sure that 44 days would probably turn into 50, 60 something days through all the other, areas that people try to communicate with us. So I'm sorry, it's just not possible. There is times there like that where I want to sit down. I didn't just do that as a study. I do like to get on there and interact when I can. But again, it goes back to, do you want content, or do you just want me for 2 months out of the year replying to, messages that don't pay bills? It does show people you're interacting with them. But I think, again, 99% of you understand that you would rather see me working instead of just replying to comments. And that was just crazy, okay? I knew it would take a lot of time, but just to actually put some numbers to it kind of blew my mind. Like, I knew it would take time, but I didn't even think it'd take that much time. And I was tired of mathing, but I'm sure someone could break down for that amount of comments how many hours a day it would take. But guys, I'm trying with YouTube as a business, doing it for yourself. You got to always be thinking about your next week. What are you going to be doing? Do you got parts coming? For me, wanting to make it entertaining, do I need to get anything to add to that value of it or whatever, which I've kind of lacked on, and that's because there's just so much going on. We are going to hopefully get some of that back, because I am actively seeking help, because I believe me, working 80 to 100 hours for the last 3 years or 2 years or 2.5, 3 years now, whatever it may be, has taken a toll on me. And that's fine. I ain't scared, all right? Mama didn't raise no punk. I'll take the lickings and keep on a ticking. But what I noticed was getting help has actually relieved me some, and I still get to work a lot of hours a week, but now I can have more time for my family, and that's what I'm saying. My family loves me, they support me, but I'd be lying if I didn't say for the last couple years they didn't hardly see me. And I work from home, guys. I mean, think of the bigger YouTubers who go out and travel. A lot of them do, and they're all over the place, and that's great. I'm just not one of those guys. I see my family every day, but because I don't feel like I get to spend always genuine time with them, I don't feel like I even see them. Even though almost every night me and my wife sleep in the same bed, I get to tell my kiddos good night. Yes, we get to have dinner together most of the time, but there's a lot of time that's been spent on, all right, we had dinner, now it's back to packing orders, now it's back to editing till midnight, get in bed, wife's already asleep, get out of bed 6 o'clock to either pack more orders and or do more editing, and then get back to work. And I've got help over the years, and it's made it now where I can work around, I would say here, probably 50, 60 hours a week. And that feels like a 40-hour week to me, which is amazing. What were we? I don't even know how we got here. Oh, time with my family. So I'm trying to get to where I feel like I have almost some normal hours, and I don't think it's fair to them to go in there and be like, let's play a game together, but every time it ain't my turn and they're playing a game, that I'm on my phone trying to reply to YouTube comments. Or when me and my wife go to lay down in bed, now if we can get in bed at 10:30 together or 11 after getting kids sorted or whatever, at a somewhat decent time and taking care of what we got to take care of, that the last hour before we fall asleep, I spend it replying to comments on there. I gotta have time. I've got to maintain my personal relationships with my immediate family. Don't even talk to my friends or outside family about our relationships, because in the last few years they've become non-existent, because everyone knows all I do is work. Because if you want to come over and spend 20 minutes, well, I don't have 20 minutes to spare anymore. I'm sorry. I'm chasing a dream and I don't have help. Help! I need somebody help! Well, guys, I'm here to tell you I finally have some help. And we'll talk about this real quick. I'll talk about a couple things that you can use to edit or record with. Some people are curious about that. I don't have a lot of experience with the technical this or that. I can just give you some quick advice that has worked for me, works for Mortsky. as far as what equipment to use and crap like that. And then we'll probably conclude, because I've been rambling for a minute. This last November was Nathan's 1-year anniversary at Puddin's Fab Shop, helping us do merchandise. Nathan is a college kid. He is one of my good friend's sons, and his dad's rule is he has to have a part-time job as he's in college. He's working at Chick-fil-A, and long story short, I drove through the Chick-fil-A line and I poached him. Watch your ass, Chick-fil-A. Oh, trying to work on my cussing. Watch your butt, Chick-fil-A. Y'all tell me down below which one had more effect. I personally, the one with the A word, sounded like I was more serious and I was threatening Chick-fil-A, and please don't sue me. I cannot go against y'all. And that goes back to, can I say the A word or butt, and which one's funnier and, you know, spreads joy. Anyhow, we're not going on that again. We got Nathan. He has made it possible for us to release more. He freed up time where I could get more work done, which was much needed. It don't seem like it in the video, so it probably didn't translate to y'all well, because that was around the time where the framing of our house was nearing completion, which from the time we started to do dirt work to concrete to framing, we did not have to be involved in a whole lot, because they're just trying to get your house dried in. Couple decisions here or there, but you know, they're fighting the winter weather back then or whatever, and sometimes delayed this amount of time or that amount of time, whatever. So for months we were making progress out here, and we weren't required. Then as Nathan started helping us around that time is where it became more decision making, more of us having to be involved, constantly coming out here and trying to keep the ball rolling out here as well. And again, God's timing, he knew I was to the point where we needed help. Me and Ashley, again, being transparent, I'm an open book about it. We were fighting over t-shirts because we couldn't get them out fast enough, and I was worried about getting y'all stuff out faster. And she goes, they support you, they'll understand, and this and that, which I get, but at the end of the day, if you bought something from me and I have your money, I need to get your stuff to you. And there's some of y'all where we have cases, whether it be stuff comes up missing, we got shorted on our t-shirts, whatever. I understand that, but if we get a big round of orders, we need to get 98% of orders out. That's just how I feel. No, we ain't Amazon, but we can do better than what we were doing, is how I felt about the situation. And me and my wife were just butting heads over t-shirts too much, which again, ain't no one's business, but me and her know that, and we're open about it. We laugh about it. Like, we were fighting over t-shirts. It's kind of silly now, you know? At the time, it just seemed very important. It wasn't, anyhow, we needed help. And because there's only so many hours in a day, and here I am thinking family time means we can spend the one day a week that people are home from sports and this or that. We can spend that family day together in our shed in the backyard packing t-shirts. Oh man, there's been some sacrifices made from my family too to make all this dream happen. Again, thank you guys for the support. They're not mad at me about it. We'll talk and laugh about it now. I was just thinking we could all Superman everything. And again, we're still fairly new to the YouTube thing, not so much now, but at that point, I still feel like the rug could just be swept out from underneath us. So I didn't want to hire no more help than we had to have. And on top of that, I didn't want to feel bad if for some reason I had to turn around and fire Nathan 2 months later because I couldn't, something went sour and I couldn't afford to have an employee, which, thanks to the support of you guys and everyone, has not been the case. But anyhow, as we got Nathan hired, crap out here got super busy. And as we continued putting out merch, we put out about the same amount. Nathan had a couple of weeks where he just come up to me and he's like, man, I don't know how you were getting all this merchandise out and still putting out 2 videos a week. And I was like, I don't know either. Just ask these couple gray hairs, you know what I mean? I call them gray. They're Snow White. I know y'all see them. They may be on this side. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, me neither, man. Well, it's because I wasn't sleeping. I was packing t-shirts. And now, moving at the end of last year, I decided I needed help with editing. Actually, I decided that well over a year ago. I actually put out a video asking people if they knew anyone to send them my way. A lot of people emailed me, but the problem was a lot of people were not even close to me, and I like to have a one-on-one conversation. And I take my videos very serious. If there's stuff I don't like in the edit, I just want to be able to talk to people and not be an email, just not feel like I have a genuine relationship with them. Well, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, at some point ago, I want to say it was during the Datsun build, I got a random text, some local guy. He wanted to know if I wanted to shoot a video as an interview kind of thing. He makes this kind of that, trying to do this content or that content. And again, I don't even have time to hardly reply to subscribers in the comment section because I'm working, or I can't hang out with my family because we got to pack t-shirts. So a lot of people who inquire with me, guys, they don't get a response if it ain't something that needs to be introduced as a business part in my life, or I don't know how to say that, but what I'm saying is I don't entertain a lot of stuff unless it's extremely relevant to what we have going on. And I just never replied to the guy, and I don't remember how we made it to the point that me and him got back in contact. I want to say someone gave me his number, and I went to text him to ask if he was a local editor, and it was that text message come up in my old history, and I was like, well, this is awkward because now I got to reply to this guy who texted me, and I never said nothing. I just ghosted him. He gonna tell me piss off. So either way, I got in contact with this guy, and Puddin's Fab Shop is my baby. I've wanted to do a YouTube channel since I was a teenage kid, guys. I graduated 2009. YouTube became something when I was like middle school to high school. I'm one of them kids who watched some of the first old school YouTube videos back then. And anyways, it's just been a dream of mine forever. So it's very hard for me to ask for help because I don't feel like there's a single person in this world who's gonna care about it more than I do. So I reached out to him and I kind of talked and asked his background, and he has some editing skills and had, did a lot of weddings, owned a company that did that and a few things. And my favorite part was he is local to me, which is great. His name's Chris. And in fact, that video that Slick put out on the second channel, the beginning was Chris, and he said I edited this video. Well, the surprise to you guys is, since we've moved, about 5 to 6 weeks prior to that, I had him start editing the second channel. The very first video he did, we put the brakes on the van, and if you go back and watch that video now for whatever reason, you could probably catch it, especially when the work was getting done. He skipped some of the steps and some of the ways that I like to do things, but that was the very first video he had ever done for me. And thank goodness he took constructive criticism well. I told him I don't want to rebrand my brand. I don't want it to look like someone new is editing it. I want it to look like I edited it. As far as the clipping goes, I have a very fast-paced clipping style, and certain points when I want it done or whatever. So we worked on, I think he did 5 videos there, and then we made it to the point where we were moving. And after we got moved, even that week we actually moved, I only put y'all out like a 20-minute update video on the main channel, which was the worst video I've ever done. It was just the busiest I've been in my life, of course, trying to move shop and house in 1 week and make them both get somewhat house functional, shop just get everything here. It's a lot of heavy crap. Anyhow, that next week as I went to start doing shop stuff, still trying to get the house and everything, I just realized, I was like, I'm literally gonna have 2 days this week. So if I record for 1 day, I'm gonna have to spend the whole second day just editing to be able to get that video done. And I'm gonna give y'all 1 day's worth of work around here, which you can't organize. And again, kind of go back to like Slick spending the time he'd have to spend on rockers, and how many videos do you wanna watch with rockers? Well, how many times do you wanna watch me move one thing in the shop? And I was just like, man. So I reached out to him and I was like, hey, do you think you could do a main channel video for me this week? And he was ecstatic. He's like, full on board. Are you kidding me? He's super proud to be part of this team, I feel like. And the only reason I feel like that is because I've talked to like 20 people local who he's met, and when they find out he knows me, he tells them he edits for me now, so I know he's proud. Everywhere I go, they're like, hey, I met your editor. I'm like, I'm sure you did. Chris likes to tell everybody. Surprised he ain't made a YouTube video yet saying I edit for Puddin's Fab Shop. Secret's out. Anyhow, he edited it that week, and in fact, that's where the 2-hour video started coming from. So Guys, y'all think I talk a lot? I talk a lot. In my hour-long videos, I've cut out apparently an hour's worth of content because I know my key points, I'd skip ahead and this or that, and I'm sure I was missing some stuff I've said over the years that was really worthy content. But Chris don't have my thinking on, you know, what should I take out, whatever, so he left everything in there. And that's how the longer videos came about. And after a couple weeks, I was still reluctant to try them, but Mortski's like, dude, go for it. My top viewing videos ever are all over 2 hours long. All of his videos that are in the millions are 2 to 3 hour plus long. Every single one of them. So everyone who thinks short videos is the answer, it's not. In fact, Ian from Big Tire Garage, that's also Ian from Extreme 4x4 channel from the old Power Block TV. I just talked to him a few days ago on Instagram. We'll chat it up every once in a while. And he's trying longer format videos. And he's like, dude, since I went to longer videos, he's like, revenue's up, subscriber count's up, I'm reaching new viewers on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. So guys, we're almost like TV car shows. We're replacing, you can't get good TV car shows anymore, so people come to YouTube for it. So the longer content, I don't think matters. So Chris does have obligations. He does have another job. He's actually a youth pastor. Bless him for putting up with me. And I don't want to talk about him too much personally because that's his business, and I didn't ask him if I could talk about that. So if you don't want that in there, Chris, just take it out. And if you're okay with it, just leave this part in. But he had obligations, and I always edit my videos week to week. So if I start that Monday, I'm editing throughout the week. It's the video that goes out the following Monday, working through the weekend, editing, finishing it up through Sunday, hopefully Sunday night, getting it uploaded Monday morning. Monday morning, you look, upload complete good. Whew. Hey, start the process again. So we did what we had to do to get out a week ahead where it could work with his schedule better. So what I'm telling y'all this because then, like that second or third week he did the main channel and we had done that, I'm so used to recording it Monday, editing what I did Monday, recording it Tuesday, edit what I did Tuesday, and then always into the following morning I'll have to edit some. And I just do that throughout the week. And I clip video, then I go through and I adjust volume on video, and then maybe I add a funny thing or two, then I render the video, then I watch the video, then I upload the video, and by the time y'all's video is ready to go out on Monday, the following morning, I've seen that video happen in person once and on video 3 times. By the following Monday, I hate the video. That's what I'm telling you. I'm overthinking it. I shouldn't leave that in there. I should take this out, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, I was cutting a lot of stuff out, and I was just even tired of hearing myself talk. Well, once we got ahead, and then Chris was giving me the videos to watch after they've been clipped, I'd watch a 2-hour video, and I was like, yeah, I still take out some of the long talks, because there's sometimes that I don't realize how long I'm going, but I wasn't reducing no more from usually 5 to 7 minutes out of the videos. Now there was one that was real bad. It was like 2 hours and 35 minutes long, and I got it down to like 1 hour 50 because I was talking way too much. But what I realized was I was cutting out a lot of content that was YouTube worthy, in my opinion, after being away from it for 2 weeks and then watching it, instead of doing it, editing, blah, 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 watching it, oh, this is terrible. 2 weeks later, I watched the same thing, not had seen it a million times, just had recording it and giving it to him. And I'm like, pretty good video. And again, 99.something% seem to agree because we're not getting the dislikes there. And what I'm telling you is Chris paid for himself very quickly. Because I told y'all the longer videos, retention time, everything doubled. So he made his own revenue. He generated revenue that covered what I was paying him, like I said, very quickly. You may also notice that the videos on the second channel lengthened, which not as much, and the retention time didn't double there because we were always all over the place anyhow, but we have had some longer ones, so the revenue on the second channel did go up as well, some too. So not only did Chris pay for himself, he's actually made Puddin's Fab Shop some money, and I'm more than fair with Chris or any of my employees, which is just Chris and Nathan. That's like we got a damn team of people. And my wife, of course, she helps with all the merchandise stuff still too. But I just consider me and her whatever. But What was I saying? Dang it, did it again. He paid for himself. He made Puddin's Fab Shop actually a little bit extra money from all this workload I've been putting on myself. And what he did mostly was free up about 20 hours a week. And funny enough, just like Nathan, after Nathan did it for like a month or whatever it was, and then he was like, I don't know how you were doing all this by yourself. Nathan came up, or Chris edited for like a month. Now he did the second channel, but then when I gave him the second channel and main channel, and he has his other job and that, he came over and he was like, I don't know how you've been editing all this and doing everything you've been doing for as long as you have and not missing videos. And I told him, you see these white hairs? Sleep's for the week, okay? We don't need it. Why would you sleep when you could be packing orders or editing? He freed up time. So, like I said, between getting help from Nathan and getting help from Chris, I have now made it to where I can work about 55 to 60 hours a week to still get everything done that needs to be done for my behalf. Not doing that stuff. And that's still a lot of work. My wife did not want me to tell y'all that I got an editor, because whenever I first announced that I was going full time, and I told y'all that, the automatic assumption from a lot of people was, now instead of doing 1 video a week, he can do 3 videos a week. Well, that's not true, guys. One, if I've got to have time to edit, well, that means Chris has to have time to edit too. But what I wanted when I went full time was not to do more videos, I wanted better quality videos. With having Chris on board, that's what I've been wanting to get to, is better quality videos. With having the free time where I'm not having to get up at 6 and then edit till 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and then have to get out here and work till 6 o'clock, and then go in to edit. Or some days, depending on what's going on in the evening, I may have to close down here at 4:30 and go in where I can edit for a couple hours and then edit at night. Having Chris on board to take up that editing time has made it where a lot of times I can get out here from 8 and even work till 6, which is way more work. So that's why in one video, you'll see a lot more get done, like this thing, getting cut down the frame side and the bed side and all that stuff we got done in 1 week. With our S10, like these 2 things, we need a video each to have them wrapped up. But the amount of work we got done on them in the 4 videos we spent on each one or whatever it was, we got a lot of work done in that. And that's because I finally had help where I could just focus on working. So no, we don't plan on putting out more content because I have help. I plan on staying working my 50+ hours a week, but that's not just working here. Well, no, 50 hours a week is what I try to do content working wise. And then whatever's required with me still doing art designs and keeping all that kind of crap going and flowing. And then also, Chris does edit it, but you can't teach someone the humor that's in your head. So when I do get it, I do kind of master it. I will watch every video. Chris, I love you, but you're really bad about missing them little black screen clips for just a split second, and I'll cut those out of there because it makes the video just flash black for a second. And I've told him this, guys, he ain't gonna be mad at me. Don't think I'm being critical here. I'm fine with that. I like mastering it. A lot of the zoom ins, a lot of the add in little funny stuff and text overlay and a lot of that is still me. I watch it and then I also take out what I gotta take out. So on Saturday or Sunday mornings, I still have a few hours required of me on the main channel. And then Wednesday night, usually on the second channel, I got a couple hours where I got to spend on the computer mastering the edit. And then of course you got your time and thumbnails and all this other stuff that you don't think is that much, and it still adds up to a lot of time. But thanks to Chris being on the team, I have had that time more in the last, well, since he's done that. And we finally are somewhat settled in here where me and my family can spend really good quality time together, which we've always been a happy family. But to be a happier, or to try to reach the happiest family, why not that be the goal, guys? And just in these last couple months, we've been doing really good in there of getting to spend time together. And thank goodness Dad don't have to be on the computer every hour he's in the house in the evening unless we're eating dinner. And I told Ashley she didn't want y'all to know that Chris is part of the team, but Chris is a very valuable member of this team. Chris, thank you for everything you do for me and my family to free up time where I don't have to try to feel like Superman, because I didn't know how many years I had left in me of Supermaning everything. But I'm not worried about that now because Chris is here to stay. He's part of the team. Also, Nathan knows I tell him all the time, but thank you, Nate Dogg, for helping take care of the merchandise. And thank you guys for watching the videos to the point where I need Chris, where I can increase our content quality for you guys. And thank you guys for the support with merchandise to the point where I need Nathan to help us get the stuff out on time. Without you guys supporting this, yes, it's a lot of work on our end, but with no audience to watch it, you know, I would still be fighting and pursuing it. I was never going to give up on YouTube, but I'm so thankful for you guys who have found us at this point and are still supporting this journey of ours. I will see you guys next time. Do not forget, sitting on your ass won't finish your project. I will see you guys next time as we're gonna have another update video of the shop add-on, and then hopefully we can get into some work around here as we get out of my crazy holidays and butt pellets. Hot damn, there's so much BSery, we had to start a whole channel for all the extras. Be sure to go check out Puddin's Fab Shop if you ain't seen that baby yet. Come on!